So I'm going to talk about building community now, and this is really, really powerful because I think this is the way that we win. And like, again, with all this talk about, the truth is there's no structure that really can put a cap on chronic disease like functional medicine. It's being proved by Parker Hannafins and the Safeways of the world. The kind of medicine that we're doing is the only solution for chronic disease. So let's start acting like we got something of real value here and stop acting like, oh, we're just this minority that, is used to getting beaten down. Right? And this is the way that we're going to go about it. And this is what we've put together, and this is going to be the basis for all of our conversation here. This is basically a 5-step plan to create these integrated micro practices. And I want to talk about each part of these systems here now. At the middle here is your practice. And this is the most fundamental part. You have to deliver great medicine. You have to really build a practice built around good results. And I would say there's a reason kind of why it's in the middle. If you look down and say it was like a tunnel, that's the gut tube right there. We need 100,000 practitioners out there practicing great microbial medicine, really getting to the core of microbial communities and building strong health communities. And that is the start. That's right in the middle of your practice. And that's why we'll keep bringing functional medicine and microbiome content on the functional forum, because it's a really important topic. Because if you're a regular doctor, a gastroenterologist or a rheumatologist or a internal medicine doctor, and you find out about the microbiome, you can't go back. You can't go back to practicing the same way. You realize that there's an ecology in the body. You can't go back to just, doing it the way you did it. So this is why that's important. And this is a clinical part. Look, you're going to have to work this out. There's plenty of conferences around that do amazing work at teaching you how to do great clinical practice. The next step is key, because if you don't get from that, there are a lot of practitioners out there. I know, for instance, there are 100,000 practitioners that have taken some sort of functional medicine training. How many of them are actually delivering functional medicine every day in practice? Not that many. And the reason why is because they're stuck in a job, they're not doing the work, and that's the value of the micro practice. The point of the micro practice is it's so low overhead that you can switch easily from doing the job that you hate, stuck in a physician or hospital-based job, to doing the medicine that everyone who does it loves it. It's the kind of medicine that you went to school for to do. And so what you need to have in order to take this to the next level, you need to have the right clinical team and office staff. You need to have a team supporting you. And this is one of the reasons why we've endorsed Freedom Practice Coaching, because we see that Freedom Practice Coaching has a system for being able to really get your team on board. In my previous job before this, I went to literally tens of thousands of integrated practices all around the country. And you can tell within 5 seconds of walking in what the staff think about their job, whether this is a well-run practice, the vibe of the place. It tells you can tell it in 5 minutes. Sometime in the future, I'm going to do basically the equivalent of Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares, but for medical practice. And if I show up and there's someone having a cigarette out the front and putting it out, and if I show up and there's McDonald's, but stuck behind the table, I'm going to swear and I'm going to use the F-bomb repeatedly, because that cannot go on. So Freedom Practice Coaching is awesome because they have a real foolproof system of being able to incentivize your staff and build them to be able to really support you in creating this. So these are the first 2 steps. And if you have problems with this, this is why we created the Evolution of Medicine Concierge. You can speak to someone from our team. We can put you in touch with the resources that you need to do that. So the next ring that we're going to talk about here is this group of like-minded peers. And this is exactly the reason why we started the Functional Forum meetup groups, because there's so much power in community, and there's power in community in the internal level, and there's power in community when you're meeting groups of peers of practitioners. And so far we've heard so much great feedback. Down in Atlanta, I know they're watching at the Amen Clinic. There's 50 doctors watching there the first month. There's groups of practitioners getting together. Any health coach that's put together a meetup with doctors there, they're never going to have to look for a job again, because they've got 20 functional doctors in there, and I'm here at the front telling them that health coaches and doctors work well together. So they've got an audience of people that I'm selling on the fact that they need to work together. So anyone who's watching, we need to be putting these groups together and getting groups together to watch the Functional Forum. And I'm not so in saying that I think that the only thing that you can do together in community is watch my show. But what I would say is that if you're getting these groups together, now we have some power to get into these parts. Because this is really where the rubber hits the road, your health community and local businesses. And that's what we're going to spend time talking today. Because I think if we work together, we can actually reduce the cost of patient acquisition into functional medicine. We can get a ton of people, a ton more patients into integrated medicine, into functional medicine, into these practices, but you have to work together. And that's what we're going to talk about here today. So, I want to talk about Gather. This is fresh. You never heard this before. This is the new information, and this is going to blow you away. So, I went to see a film called Trace Amounts. Who's seen Trace Amounts, right? So I went to go see Trace Amounts, the film that Robert Kennedy is pitching to senators to try and stop them do the vaccination bill in California. It's a great film. How is it distributed? It's distributed through Gather. So what Gather is a way for you, with a single click of a button, and it's super easy, is to put on your own film screening, right? You can screen basically any film you want. Maybe not Avengers, but you probably wouldn't want to do that now anyway. You've got to it's better to screen films that there's not a high demand for, because they work it out. But they work out all the details of you doing a film screening. So, in my first Heal Thy Practice conference, Dr. Jeff Glad had done this in his practice in rural Indiana. He showed Escape Fire. Escape Fire, by far the best film at converting people. Any person, you guys here, you might do quite a good job of converting people to integrated medicine. If you had a one-on-one with someone for 10 minutes who had never heard of integrated medicine, what do you think your chances are of converting that person so they're like a raving fan and ready to do it? You know, I'd like you all to think that maybe you do 100%, but I don't think you do, and I don't either, because it's tough. But films do. Films are amazing at this. Films are designed to convey emotion, and emotion is what is needed to change behavior. And there are films out there right now, like Escape Fire, like Fed Up, like Trace Amounts, like Under Our Skin for Lyme disease. These are all films that would, if you watch it, you wouldn't go anywhere but a holistic provider. So, what I'm going to say to you now is that what we need is we need groups of practitioners together to put on film screenings. And what we're going to do later on in the year is we're going to have the first Evolution of Medicine Film Festival. And it's going to be the same films happening all across the country on the same day in every zip code of America. You know how many movie theaters it takes to have a really big theatrical release? You know, like Superman or the Avengers. How many movie screens has that got? Like 1,000. There's like 50,000 integrated practitioners, and once we pick the films for you, all you have to do is press one button and say where you are, and they'll set up the whole thing. And whether that film happens or not is whether or not you can sell enough tickets to it. So later on in the year, we're going to do this. If anyone wants to try it in the meantime, it's super easy. You just go to gather.us, and you can start doing it right now. But our goal later on in the year is we're going to get tens of thousands of people into screenings of Escape Fire, and you know where they're going to go afterwards? They're going to go right into your practice. So what we need to do now is to get groups of practitioners together. So you see that it's not just about watching my show on the first Monday of the month, it's about organizing. And this is the difference. This is what Ron is talking about with his question. This is why Alliance for Natural Health is valuable, because they're organizing people to communicate, you know, to work together to solve a problem. And this is one of the ways that we can do that. So can I get a hell yeah for the movie screenings right now? All right. So that's the first thing we're going to talk about is Gather Film. So at the moment, I'm thinking it's going to be something like Escape Fire on the first night. The second night, we're going to have Trace Amounts. The third night, we'll have Fed Up. And then we'll finish, I don't know, with something even crazier, like Bought or Doctored or something like that. But look, Gather Films is making technology, is coming along to make it really easy for us all to organize. All we have to do is take initiative. So this is the first step. So watch out for that. We're going to be organizing our own thing, and we're going to be stimulating you guys to go and do this. But if we could get 10 cinemas or 100 cinemas, if we can get to 1,000 cinemas, that is newsworthy, right? It's newsworthy. If we can get 1,000 cinemas to do it, we will be on the news, and this will be a force to be reckoned with. And people will go to the movies, and people will end up in your practices. That's the plan. So this is fresh. You enjoying this so far? Yeah. All right. So this is what we're doing. So now we want to get into this healthy community, right? It's so frustrating to me to think that in every community now, there's health food stores, there's farmers markets, there's gyms, and there's CrossFit. CrossFit is taking over, right? And every place there's CrossFit. What are they teaching in CrossFit? They're teaching about inflammation and food driven by inflammation. So you think anyone that does CrossFit is ever going to go to a regular primary care doctor? Obviously not, because they know more than you. And when I say you, I'm talking to you, the doctor at home that doesn't know about functional medicine or about nutrition. They're going to go to these kind of providers. So what we need to do is we need to engage this healthy community. So if you're putting the movie screening on, you engage with you engage with people all across the country, and you engage with all the groups in your community that that are interested in health food stores, farmers markets, gyms. If you're working across the country, do you know all the people in your community that run those things? You should. And this is a really good way to do it, because I can understand the trepidation of going in to talk about your practice, but the movie screening makes it easy. So another thing we're going to do later in the year, because it just so happens that one of my key employees is one of the founders of National Kale Day with Dr. Drew Ramsey, who you've seen before, but I think it's an awesome idea, is National Kale Day. Again, if you eat kale, right, what sort of doctor should you be seeing? If you understand the benefits of kale or nutrient density, you want to go and do this. Now, why is the National Kale Day a really useful thing to do? One, it's because it gives you an excuse to talk to all those people in your community, and it's not all about you. I can see that going to meet the health food store guy or going to meet the farmer's market guy and saying, hey, I'm Dr. Smith and I've got a functional medicine practice, aren't I great? That's why people hate sales, because they don't like talking about themselves like that. So look, don't bother. Go and speak to them about National Kale Day. If you're the person who organizes the film screening, or if you're the person that organizes the Kale Day celebration in your zip code, wherever that might be, you're the center of that wellness community, and it's just de facto that you're going to be in the center of it. If you're the doctor that's being interviewed at the end of the movie screening about functional medicine and what it is and how it works, those patients are coming to you. In the same way, if you're the guy doing the, organizing the local community, then you're going to be in the middle of that too. And next month, just to give you a preview, next month the topic of the Functional Forum is who needs a super coach? And we're going to be talking about how to turn coaches of all varieties into super coaches and putting them with practitioners. And super coaches, one, understand functional medicine and can go toe-to-toe about anatomy and physiology and all the stuff that's necessary to actually practice good medicine. The other thing that super coaches do is they take advantage of technology to be able to really do root cause resolution medicine well. And then the third thing that super coaches do is they take initiative to do stuff like this, right? They take initiative to do this kind of stuff because, if you're a doctor and you don't want to go into the community because, you're a veteran or that's not your thing, maybe you're an introvert, hire a health coach who's not. They'll go out and do all of this work to do National Kale Day, and they'll love it. And that doesn't even have to be a health coach. It could be a nurse coach, there's chiropractor coaches, there's all kinds of coaches now. But coaching is a really important part of chronic disease management. And next month's Functional Forum is going to be all about coaching and this sort of combination of medicine and coaching, which is really exciting. Coaching didn't come from medicine. It's from business. And it's all about behavior change, and that's what we need. So, October 1st, get ready for this. And the Evolution of Medicine Summit runs the 21st to the 28th of September, and that's like 3 days before Kale Day. So I think we're going to have some epic momentum into that. So you should be doing some Kale Day stuff in your zip code wherever you are as well. And we'll have Drew here probably in September to come and talk about Kale Day. If you see pictures of him, he's always wearing his kale t-shirt. So he loves it. Okay. So now I'm getting back from community and I'm starting to look at all stuff on the internet about community, and guess what? The effectiveness of a walking group intervention to promote physical activity and cardiovascular health in predominantly non-Hispanic, Black and Hispanic urban neighborhoods, finding from the Walk Your Heart intervention. Basically what they found is that if they could get people walking together in community from 45 to 90 minutes 3 times a week, the results of that, the medical results of that, were so powerful that if it was a drug, it would be a blockbuster drug. Michael Dermer, when he came in here, and he's an incentive expert, when he spoke on the Functional Forum, he said patient engagement is the next blockbuster drug. We have to find ways to engage patients. And guess what? We're really good at that too. Don't underestimate the value of what all of us are doing. I think by underestimating it, we're reducing the value of what we actually have. And we have a lot. So, how do you do this? So I'm walking down the promenade in Santa Monica in LA, and guess what? Guess who has a running group going out of their store once a week? Lululemon, right? Lululemon is a billion-dollar company, and they've worked out that if they can get all the joggers in the local community to meet at Lululemon once a week, guess what? People buy a ton of Lululemon stuff. And Guess how much it costs them to do this whole thing? 0. They just have a sign in the window that says there's a joggers club, and there's like 50 of them running in all their Lululemon garb. So all you have to do to be the center of your wellness community is have a walking group or a running group. And where do they meet? At your practice. At your practice. I've got a practitioner I know who actually has the farmers market come and set up in their car park on the weekend. Right? They gave the space of their car park to have the practice there because guess what? Everyone's coming there and it's easy to do. So a walking group or a running group is a no-brainer, unless, well, you know, I was telling Jeff Glad, I was like, yeah, you should have a running group. And he's like, yeah, there's like 4 feet of snow in Indiana throughout half the year. So I get that, and I see pictures of friends who are in, you know, who are in New England, and the snow hasn't even left yet, and it's May the 4th. So, you know, obviously this may be a seasonal thing, but this is super powerful, and this costs nothing, and probably, again, either the health coach or a patient in your practice who loves you would be happy to lead the walking group or anything like that. So this is yet another example of a completely free. Don't spend any money on advertising until you've done an awesome video thing. You know, you've done a film series, you've done Kale Day, and you got a walking group. There's 3 for you before the end of the year. So this is what we're starting to see here. We've got your practice in the middle. You're practicing great medicine. You've got a great clinical team and office staff that are empowering you, that are adding your ability to see more people, that are potentially, you know, keeping down the cost if you have a cash practice by, you know, being a lower cost provider and so forth. And then you have your group of professional peers. You know, it's going to be very difficult. It gives you so much more credibility as a provider if you're not everything to everyone. If you can go out there and say, yeah, I know the best holistic neurologist in town. I know the best, you know, holistic rheumatologist in town. I know those people. I know a naturopath. I know a cranial sacral. I know these kind of people. That's the position that you need to be to lead your health community. And it's easier than ever to do that. And you can start to engage with those people. But the icing on the cake, the real power here, is this out-circle local businesses. And if you weren't able to catch the webinar that we did 2 Mondays ago, we talked about this. And this is hot. This is basically where businesses all over the country are starting to realize right now that, you know, that the cost savings associated with functional medicine are so great that they need to get going now. Parker Hannifin, Safeway, this is proven beyond a reasonable doubt that engaging your healthy populations into some sort of predictive, preventive medicine that all of you guys are doing pays for itself. And so we need to be able to do that. Now, can you just go out and pitch businesses about your services? Maybe. And if you're a really good salesman, then, you know, probably you could. But what you would really like to have is a really good, you know, quality team so that everyone comes into your office, knows what's going on, and people can support you in that way. You'd want to have a great connection of peers in your community so that you could, you know, refer to them, and you can go to these practitioners and say, oh yeah, you've got a factory, you know, you probably don't need my stress management training, but what you do need is someone who can do lifting lessons or whatever it's necessary for that particular business. And you have to engage with your health community. But this is where we're going to accelerate the evolution of medicine the fastest, is directly contracting with local businesses, and it's already starting. And this is the like billion-dollar opportunity for anyone in this field, is to get ahead of the curve on this. So these are the steps that I think are extremely powerful in doing this. And if you can imagine a map of the United States with all of these pictures of all the farmers markets, if we could put this bullet, you know, this target on top of everything, screw it. We'll just have it everywhere there's a target. We'll put one of those and we'll be fine, right? There's like 1 million targets. You know, have this target, replace it, and you know, we'll be in really good shape, because these are going to overlap, and we're going to have a lot of power there. And this is the reason why we're trying to organize people, is because it takes this kind of organization to move it forward. We've got to start acting like we're winning, start acting like we're losing. So if you're inspired by this and you want to start doing this in your community, go to functionalforum.com/meetup and start a meetup for the next functional forum. You know, the next one is Who Needs a Super Coach? Invite every coach, invite every doctor. We're going to have Dr. Susan Bloom here talking about her practice and how she's got a culture of coaching in her medical practice. She doesn't even have any health coaches, but she's got a culture of coaching in her practice, and everyone agrees on it. And that's really, really powerful. We're going to have some super coaches in the house. We're going to have some people who are empowering coaches to become super coaches by teaching them functional nutrition. All of this is happening. So, we'll go back to where we started at the beginning, that community is the guru of the future. And I would highly, highly recommend that all of us really start to think about the power of community in medicine and take advantage of being the leader in your community to start to bring this kind of medicine forward. So that was about a 22 minute rant from me, and I hope that was enjoyable for everyone. And if you liked it, I might do it again sometime soon. You never know. But what we're really interested in here is taking this movement forward. And it's such a pleasure to have people like Dr. Galland and Dr. Hoffman and other people in the room who have been taking this medicine forward for a long time. And I do encourage you to get involved with some of the political organizations. But I would also say that we need to start organizing ourselves, and we've got so many things going for us. The technological revolution, all of this technology that we spoke about, how you can organize a film screening with no effort, everything's done for you. All of these things are coming about at the right time to make it really easy for us to take over, and that's the plan.
Thanks so much for watching, and for more great clips like this, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. I've created a special free video just for you. It's called the 5 Steps to Becoming a Leader in Your Wellness Community, and it'll give you some of the starting points on how to position yourself as the leader in your zip code of your health community. All you have to do is click on the link below.